Despite Squid Game being a massive hit on Netflix, Season 2 has yet to be officially greenlit, pardon the pun there. But with Season 1 ending on a bombshell, there's a strong likelihood that there will be a second season. And so we thought we'd go over the ending of Season 1, what it all means, what the second season might potentially look like, and just some general fun theories about some things that you might have missed. So let's take a look. And of course, there will be some major Squid Game spoilers in this video. You, my friend, have been warned. Alright, before we dive into the meaning of the ending and all the potential theories, let's just go over briefly what happened at the end of the show. Of course, our favorite character, Gi-eun, ultimately wins after a showdown with Sang-woo and is given the massive cash prize and gets to return home. However, upon returning home, he finds out that his mother died, his daughter has moved to the US, and life is still the same old So, instead of spending his money on a fancy sports car or a trip on Jeff Bezos' spaceship, Gi-eun leaves it sitting in his account until he gets himself a brand new haircut and then gives half the money to Sang-woo's mother, as well as a new son in the form of Sae-byok's younger brother. Gi-eun also runs into an old friend, Oil-nam, who instead of being a poor dying man is actually a very rich dying man and the architect behind the games, which in hindsight was hinted at pretty heavily. To prove a point that people are generally not very great, Oil-nam makes a bet with Gi-eun and wagers that no one will go and help a drunk man lying in the gutter as snow falls on him by midnight. A bet which Gi-eun easily could have won if he just went down there himself and helped the guy, but whatever. Oil-nam eventually passes away due to his brain tumor, and Gi-eun gets ready to head to the States to see his daughter, but at the airport, he encounters the same mysterious man that inducted him into the Squid Game in the first place and realizes that the games are not over and are an unrelenting beast. As Gi-eun gets ready to get on the plane, he calls up the number and gives them a piece of his mind until the front man tells him to get on the plane and let it be. However, instead of getting on his flight, Gi-eun neglects his daughter for like the millionth time and walks away from the plane, suggesting that he is going to try and take down the games potentially from within. So that's the ending wrapped up. Now let's talk about what Season 2 might look like. Now, while Hwang Dong-hyuk may have written Season 1 all the way back in 2008, and then had to wait over 10 years for his pitch to be successful, he didn't get around to actually writing what a Season 2 would look like, and seemingly doesn't know himself what will happen in the second season. However, seeing as the show is insanely popular right now and on course to being the biggest Netflix show of all time, a second season is more than likely, and Netflix have said that they will work with the show's creator to flesh it out. While Hwang Dong-hyuk doesn't have a clear view of what Season 2 will look like, he does have some ideas. In an interview with The Times, he said, quote, "While I was writing Season 1, I thought about the stories that could be in Season 2 if I get to do one. One would be the story of the frontman," end quote. That's the enigmatic character played by Lee Byung-hun, who was a previous winner of the game. This would make a lot of sense, as there's still a lot of plot threads left unresolved in terms of the frontman, and the fact that he killed his own brother could be set out for more development in Season 2. Hwang Dong-hyuk also said that he's thinking of putting more focus on the Korean police in the follow-up season and less on the games, but with Hwang currently working on a movie and other projects right now, we might have to wait a little longer for Season 2 than ultimately we would like. So as we have some time, let's discuss some potential theories for what a second season might look like. Going through the games in its entirety feels unlikely, as it would ultimately be repetitive, so focusing on the police and their bid to stop the games makes more sense. Perhaps they will work with Gi-eun to help stop the games once and for all, and continue the work started by Hwang Jun-ho. Gi-eun may enter as a player once again and try and take the games down from within and turn the other players on the frontman and the VIPs, or maybe he can pose as a guard and work in the shadows to take them down, just like Hwang Jun-ho did. Speaking of Hwang Jun-ho, there is a possibility that he survived being shot and his fall, and could also continue his work alongside Gi-eun. While the real-life odds of surviving are admittedly pretty thin, it would help the plot if he were still alive, and it would not be the first time the show tricked us into thinking a character was dead when they were actually alive. Perhaps Hwang Jun-ho washed up on some island somewhere, or was picked up by a fisherman? One theory suggests that fan favorite Ali is still alive, but I'm not buying that one. And while I loved the character, it would ultimately undercut the emotion and the overall threat that the show creates. Others have suggested that Sae-byok's little brother could end up joining the games, and while many have discounted this due to the fact that he's not an adult, there is some credence to this. Perhaps to screw over Gi-yeon or to make him stop trying to take them down, the frontman threatens to put in, or does put in, Sebyok's brother and Sang-woo's mother, and makes them choose which one dies and which one survives. I mean, it's not like they haven't done that before. Another theory suggests that the show will move away from Korea and Koreans and focus on players from another country. However, seeing as Hwang Dong-hyuk was talking about Korean police, I would say that this is unlikely, but we'll see. Other theories suggest that Season 2 will be a prequel series and either be how the frontman ended up winning the games or the very first game created by Oil-nam, but my gut's telling me that these will more likely be told in a flashback or a spin-off series. If I had to put a Squid Game style wager on it, I'd go with Gi-yeon trying to take the games down from the inside and the potential return of Hwang Jun-ho, with Gi-yeon playing the part of a guard. There is some, albeit contentious, evidence to back this up, and it might have to do with Gi-yeon's hair color change. There's a popular theory going around the internet that the color of the card you choose as you're inducted into the games depends on the role that you're gonna perform. If you pick blue like Gi-yeon did, you'll end up as a player, but if you pick red, you end up acting as one of the guards. Seeing as the guards seem like regular people, and even in one instance barely older than a child, this does make a lot of sense and is entirely plausible. Therefore, when Gi-yeon dyes his hair red at the end of Season 1, he is suggesting that he's choosing the red card this time, and is going to play the part of the guard in the upcoming season, but it admittedly might be a bit of a stretch. Alternatively, if the red means you go back to a normal life, dyeing his hair red might mean him choosing life, as opposed to the games and death, but of course, this is open to interpretation. Another popular theory suggests that Oil-nam is actually Gi-yeon's father. This has gained traction due to the fact that we never see Gi-yeon's father, and there are some potential points that suggest there's a blood relationship there. For example, in the scene where Gi-yeon asks guards for chocolate milk, Oil-nam chuckles that his son was similar. There are some suggestions that Oil-nam started the games to find his long-lost son, and that he protected Gi-yeon so he would win and would have money to support himself. And of course, play some childhood games together that they never had the chance to do. For me though, I think it's a little bit of a stretch, and it's more Oil-nam sees Gi-yeon as a son-like figure and therefore grows a bond with him, but I may be wrong here. Either way, it's a fun theory, and feel free to let us know your theories down in the comments below. Before we go, one last Season 2 theory could have the frontman embroiled in a power struggle. With Oil-nam dead, there is a void at the top, which could lead to a Game of Thrones style battle to lead the games. Perhaps a number of former winners will fight the frontman for that coveted position? Woo, we are gonna have to wait and see.